INCRadio DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are tuning in. Thank you so much for being here with us today on INCRadio New York. I am Sister Mika Jamalas, and I'll be your host for today's broadcast. Along with me is Sister Abby Hidalgo. Good morning, Sister Abby.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday to all.
Woohoo! All right. So it's getting, well, it's still cold actually. I was going to say it's getting warmer, but nope, it's not. So as winter lingers on, it's easy to feel the effects of shorter days, cooler temperatures, and the temptation to stay cozy indoors. But as we all know, the final weeks of winter are just as important for maintaining your health and well-being as the first snowfall. So today on INCRadio New York, we are going to explore practical tips to staying healthy, active, and positive as we wait for spring to bloom. And to join us in our conversation, I feel like he's a regular at our show, is a brother Clifford Serva. Hi, Cliff. How are you?
Hi, good morning, everybody. Happy to be here. Nice sunny day outside. You know, lots of exciting possibilities.
Oh, look who else is here. Hello, Amelia. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Yes, you know, the sun is coming out. And it's great. I'm sorry. Are you distracted by
your background?
But yeah, so let's get started, right? What are some of the things that we can do to stay safe, you know, as during the last days or weeks or days of winter? We'll start, I guess, you know, like physically. How can we keep ourselves physically healthy around it?
Well, there's a couple things that we could do actually. For everyone is seeing that the sun is coming out more often. The days are looking better. There's less snow outside, but there's still snow. And so I guess when it comes to physical activity, we are still limited to doing things like staying indoors and doing calisthenics indoors, or possibly going to the gym. I know there's going to be some people who are going to be like, but I'm shoveling snow out of my driveways in that physical activity as well. It kind of can be, yeah. But obviously, as we're outside, you know, staying physically healthy is very important. And additionally, things such as being careful when we're going outside and staying healthy, and, you know, we're trying to keep ourselves not just physically fit, but also physically well, you know, as we're going to be venturing more and more outdoors as the weather gets a little bit warmer.
That's right. So we hope that everyone is keeping physically active, right? I know there's, you know, it's hard to work out outside. It's, again, like Cliff said, it's icy. It's muddy. I feel like it's either or. It's like slushy or muddy or icy outside. So if you can stay active indoors, that's great. But what else? How about you, Sister Abby? How do you try to stay physically healthy during the winter?
I always get very cold. I'm always cold. So I do try to go outside, but I try to limit to at least maybe 20 minutes, depending on how cold the weather is. And I try to also, try to do stuff indoors. There are stuff on, YouTube or like online that you can do like workout um, indoors. I do have a gym membership and I occasionally go, but if you don't have time to go to the gym, there's stuff
like
online that you can like follow along. And I don't know, I haven't looked at the data, but sometimes cleaning your house or like doing some housework has some little bit of physical benefits, I guess.
I mean, if it doesn't have any, outside physical benefits, it definitely, I feel like, again, I feel like we've spoken about this before, like having clear space,
Mm.
causes you have a clearer mind. So, I feel like during the winter, you get less sun, right? So I feel like that definitely has some sort of effect on us. But now that it's getting a bit more, towards the end, um, we're getting more sun. So how important is that for us, Cliff, to get more sun in our lives?
Sun is super important. It makes us feel good. You get enough. You should get a couple minutes per day, maybe 15 minutes per day of good sunlight. Um, Things like that emotionally help us just feel good, right? And like you said as well, doing cleaning, decluttering the place. They call it spring cleaning, right? A cluttered place is a cluttered mind. So cleaning is exceptionally good for maintaining an emotional balance, sort of getting ready for what the year has to offer, planning ahead, trying to make sure, because, it's still a little chilly outside, so we still have to plan ahead. We can't treat it just like summer just yet when it comes to traveling and where we're going to go. We got to make sure that, for our own safety and our own emotional health, we got to think ahead about things that we're going to do still. And that's just one of the things to look forward to. I don't know. I'm a big declutterer now. I just you, don't come over to my place yet. I have to clean out. I have to throw everything outside, and then sort through it and see what we're going to keep and what we're going to recycle or give away and things like that. And it's a lot of fun when it's just nice and open and ready to sort of fill up again for the year.
That's true. You mentioned, what was it? Wait, so we mentioned sun earlier, right? I know I mentioned it. How often should you be out in the sun so that it benefits you? And I remember, does it matter like now that it's winter? I'm not making any sense because my words are all jumbled. But the sun isn't as strong. So you know how like they say you should avoid the sun from certain time to a certain time because it's too harsh on you. Is that any different during the winter? If it is, then how long can we stay in the sun?
It's actually, that's a really common question, and it's a great question. So yeah, we're getting more sun. About 15 to 30 minutes a day of sunlight is perfect. But as it's becoming more sunny, we're going out in the sun more. You're right. We should still consider that excessive sun exposure is something that we should try to avoid. So if we're going to be out in the sun for 15, 20 minutes, or if we're working near a window and the sun is coming, it's not as strong now, but later on in the year it can be. But we can still have overexposure to the sun. So even this time of year, they still recommend, if you're going to be outside, like maybe you're going to go hiking, maybe you're going to go walking around to try to soak in some of this nicer weather that we had this weekend. They still recommend putting on a little bit of sunscreen to protect your face. But yeah, it's exciting, and it's just nice to get out again and sort of not be covered by gray clouds, and it's looking very down. It's like I'm almost way too overexposed here because I'm right next to a window, so it's really pleasant. But yeah, too much of a good thing is a bad thing, so we have to make sure to also take care of our skin. That's an all year round kind of thing.
That's true. Thank you so much, Cliff. Now, let's read some of the comments on our YouTube live chat, which is it's going there. All right. So we have Brother Carlo Lim. My wife keeps me active in the winter by making me move furniture. That's right. Do whatever your wife says, Brother Carlo. And then we, in order to protect our bodies during the winter, Care Valdez says, dress in layers. Another comment. Oops, sorry, that was my phone vibrating. Um, Bing Galarpis says, walk slowly by your neighborhood. So it's good, right, to take a walk around and stretch, but slowly, because especially if it is icy outside. And like Sister Cheyenne says, right, it's so icy here in the Woodbury area. They take out their dogs for long walks, especially when it's not too windy outside. And it has been pretty windy outside, hasn't it? So, sorry, Sister Abby, you look like
Oh,
you were about to say something.
yeah, it's been, I know, like, there was also a comment about, I think from Kare, about knowing the signs of hypothermia and frostbite. So, like, it's getting warmer, and we do, and like what other brother mentioned is that they like to go outside with their pets to do short walks, and or like just be outside, have fresh air, because our days are getting longer. So I guess my question to you, Brother Cliff, is that how do we know when we've been outside for too long, and when should we know to come inside? And I guess what are the signs of hypothermia or frostbite, so that we can be aware that we're not pushing ourselves,
Yeah, that's what's deceptive about this time of year, is because even though it's sunny and it looks like it could be warm, we could actually still be experiencing freezing weather. So, like one of our commenters said, layering up your clothing is really good. Having many different layers, and so that you can, if you're going inside to a warm place, you can shed some layers. But if you're going outside, more layers help trap the warmth in, right? So, how do we know we're wearing enough? Well, when you go outside and it feels like the wind is blowing through you and it's hitting your bones, go back inside and get some more layers, right? Additionally, if we're shoveling snow or we're doing things with our hands, right? If it's cold, if we're not wearing gloves, and I was told recently that actually wearing mittens allows our fingers to sort of stay together and stay warm versus gloves that separate out our fingers. Mittens are better for staying warmer in cold weather. So if we're outside and let's say we forgot our gloves inside and we just got to do a quick thing, right? What happens? First, it feels cold and your fingers get kind of stiff, and then maybe they get a little bit painful. Yeah. And then what could happen is after the pain, if we stay outside for long enough, the pain actually can start going away and we can get really numb where our fingers can actually start changing colors. And that's where we know, okay, we've been outside long enough. Let's go ahead and get inside and get warm. So if you stop feeling, if your fingers are so numb that you can't feel them, we've been outside way too long. So what we do is we go inside, we take off tight clothes, we get to a place that's warm, like a warm room of the house, and we can put our hands into room temperature water, not boiling water. We're not going to try to scald ourselves, but just warm enough so that we can get the circulation back into our fingers, right? Because that's what's happening. The cold is closing off our blood vessels, our vasculature to our fingers, and actually sort of starving our fingers of blood supply. So we have to get that back slowly. We can dip them into some room temperature water. That should be enough. But if after like 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, the feeling isn't coming back in our fingers, we have to make a trip to the hospital, because that's kind of a thing that needs a little bit more of an urgent kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And for people that might have something like diabetes, there is a possibility of having less sensation in our feet and our hands. So we have to be extra careful at that point when we're going outside and doing activities in the snow. So we should always make sure bundle up, because if it's nice and warm, we are able to take off some stuff if we have to. But if it's not enough, we got to go back inside and find something.
That's true. I mean, is there such a thing as wearing too many layers though? Because I walk and I take the public transportation to work. So sometimes when you're outside and it's like really windy out, it's great. But then I'm like really sweaty on the inside and it gets really hot. And when I get in the train, I feel like I'm overheating. So like what do I do about that? Like is there a things such a thing as like over layering?
So the idea is, yeah, you could over layer and make yourself really warm, but at the end of the day, that's kind of where you want to be, right? We're easier dealing with being uncomfortable with some sweat and taking off a layer if we have to. I mean, if we're in the train, if we're in the subway, it's warmer down there, right? If we're in a car, it's usually warmer in there, but we should have our layers with us anyways, because yes, we can take that off when we're in the subway. But when we get to our destination and we have to get out of our car again and it's still kind of cold, I mean, even at night, I mean, it gets cold still. We should be able to put those layers back on, because I'm sure that you would prefer to be a little slightly sweaty versus slightly cold. I'm pretty sure you could ask anybody that. I'm pretty sure that they would say, yeah, I prefer to be slightly uncomfortably sweaty rather than uncomfortably cold, because there's not much you can change when you're cold aside from run as fast as you can to get to that warm spot, right? So it's a great question.
That's true. So when it comes to layers, everyone, more is more.
Yeah, I guess that's also the purpose of layers. You can put as much as you can, or you can tolerate to keep yourself warm. But as you get warmer, you can start taking off layers to cool yourself down, but still keep yourself warm. Instead of like one big heavy coat and then like you're overheating and that's like, oh, I can't take off my coat because I just have a t-shirt underneath.
Yes. I've definitely ran into that issue. It's either it's really hot or it's really cold. So I definitely have to wear layers more often. There was another comment which is very good, right? Wear hats too when you go out, because sometimes you wear the right amount of layers on your body, but then your head is really cold because you're not wearing a hat, or your ears are like starting to go red and blue because you're not wearing any like earbuds. So it's also very important to cover your head. And I feel like my mom always tells me to cover my head so that I don't get sick. So
Yeah, that's actually important. Your mom is very wise in saying that. You don't want to allow yourself to swing too far into cold or too hot, right? Because it can stress your body out and leave you sort of open and vulnerable to possibly getting sick. Especially for parents out there, let's make sure that after we've made sure we're good, we also make sure to check that our kids are good. Because one of the things that we've kind of noticed is that kids kind of don't talk, they don't communicate very well about their needs, and not until they're in the moment of mommy and daddy, I can't feel my fingers anymore, that it gets kind of panicky. So let's make sure that, especially for the kids, we're also doing the same things. We've got layers, we're making sure that they have the proper headgear and stuff for because this one here is going to go diving into the snow no matter what, and if she has gloves or not, she's going to do it. And I prefer she did that with proper protection on her head and her hands and a proper jacket and pants to wear so she can play around. Because regardless, I'm going to be chasing after her anyway. So, it's really important to make sure that our young ones are also taken care of too.
yes, thank you so much. There was also a comment from Sister Diane that if you don't have gloves or mittens, hand warmers, there are things now that they sell called hand warmers. You put them in your pocket, you can put them in your shoes, you can put them underneath your clothes and stuff, and it helps you keep you warm. So if you have them, use them. Where is it? The Hungry Hufflepuff. Many kids at my high school don't wear jackets. You always see that one teenage boy with shorts in the middle of winter. I don't know how they do it, boss. Sister Sophia from Belmore. Yeah, don't be like them.
I guess, Brother Cliff, can you say the importance of keeping warm and not getting sick? Like, why do we have to, keep ourselves, other than like frostbite and all that stuff? Like, why should we dress appropriately for the weather?
Yeah, remember, getting cold and getting sick, no matter what, we're going to be out in public. We're going to be with people on the subway or people at work or people when we go out shopping. We're going to bump into people who are also sick. When we're cold, when our bodies are fighting to stay warm, we actually sort of weaken our immune system a little bit. And like I said, we allow ourselves to get a little bit more vulnerable to getting sick. So staying warm, staying comfortable sort of eases that stress on our immune system. So it allows us to, stay healthier. But there's other ways that we can do that too. I mean, one of the ways is maybe schedule your annual physical, right, with your physician or your provider, and ask for advice on maybe what you can do that's specifically for your needs. We highly recommend, I have to say it, we highly recommend staying up to date on our vaccines and things like that as well, especially if we haven't had a chance yet. But yeah, as far as the kids with the shorts go, I've seen that as well. I think I might have been one of those people that wears shorts all year round. And I tell you, I don't know how that works. It's just, just my calves, for whatever reason, they're perfectly fine. I can't feel them, but they're still here, and I'm sure that whoever that is that's walking around, they're just cold, but they're not gonna fess up to it.
I mean, there are some people that run a lot hotter than others. So I guess
I read around that eating a meal prior to going out actually increases your body's heat generation. So you actually stay warmer if you've had a meal. So people who probably have a lot of food on them, maybe they're not as uncomfortable, but it's definitely a way to stay warm. Is having a meal prior to going outside. That actually does keep you warmer.
I have a question about that though, because you know how after you eat, some people, or at least I, feel cold. And then why is that? I don't think it has anything to do with our topic.
I am not 100% sure. Some people are just interesting like that. That's all we gotta say, right?
I think it's because all the blood goes to your digestive system in order to, metabolize and digest your food. So that's where all your blood will concentrate compared to your extremities. Like your body is really interesting on how it knows how to divert things to where it needs to go. Because say, for example, frostbite, in order for your body to survive, if you're out in the cold, all your blood goes to your core, so your head, your chest, and your thorax. So that's why your fingers, your extremities are prone to getting damaged, because all the warm blood is trying to keep your core warm. So it's kind of interesting.
That is very interesting. Thank you so much for that. Well, in case you didn't know, now you know. You're more prone to frostbite. That's very good, Sister Abby. Thank you so much. So we're coming towards the end of our topic. But before that, just really quickly, Brother Cliff, as a dad, how can you, as a man in a house, how can you keep your home, safe during, towards the end of winter?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we always are concerned about is if we have gas-powered vehicles in a garage. Some people don't want to go out into the cold. They want to go out into a warm vehicle, and so they have remote starters on their keys. We've actually had incidents occurring where the children got a hold of the keys and started up the car, the remote for the car started up the car while I was in the garage. There are limits now on how long the car can stay on, but maybe we have an older car. So we got to be careful. If we want to warm up our car, it should be outside, not inside. Let's see here, another thing to stay safe. If the heat goes off in our house for whatever reason, let's say we ran out of the utilities run out, we have to find ways to stay warm. And one of those is just like we said, it's as if you're going outside, layer up, get your blankets. If you're going to cook, please don't cook with a propane stove inside the house. Don't do that. And if for whatever reason it's still too cold and we cannot get warm, we should vacate the area and maybe go someplace that's warmer, either a friend's place. We can go out to a shopping center and stay warm there until the heat is able to come back on. And I think that will sort of keep at least you have some options of where you can go, But yeah, it's always a concern of mine having adequate heat. So I'm always kind of on top of that and making sure we're able to get everything just right. Not too much, not too little.
Thank you so much, Brother Cliff. This is something we forgot. One of the comments that I saw, please never go out with wet hair during cold weather. Always dry your hair and wear a bonnet. So I feel like for those of us who wash their hair, because some people don't apparently. Right. Don't dry your hair first before you come out. I feel like I'm getting a headache just thinking about it. So yeah, so Brother Cliff, before we end our main topic, do you have any shout outs or greetings? I know you're here so often, but
Of course. No, like I said, I love being here. I'm always excited for all your topics because you guys have such interesting things to talk about. But yeah, as far as shout outs go, my family, the one here and the one that's currently out right now, especially my family that's also here and abroad, the congregation of Wyndham, extension of Cranston, and the District of New York. Hello to everybody. And obviously everyone else who's tuning in. I hope that you're warm and comfortable and you got all the love and sunlight that you need to get through until our next show, at least.
thank you so much, Brother Cliff. Thank you always for always being ready to be on our podcast. So what are some activities that we are going to have in the District of New York?
We have a couple local mostly activities. So today I know Bristol had their family fitness. I saw some pictures on our local chat. And then also in the local of Boston, there's a film showing of Guerrero 3. And then tomorrow there'll be a resume building activity. And also the district CBR, Christian Brotherhood International, will have study sessions. So it's per region. So contact your local CBI officers to see which one is the closest to you. I know we're getting into midterms right now, and just having the moral support of your fellow students, and getting some extra help if you need some extra help with your courses or your classes. And in Rochester, we have the CFO, or Christian Family Organization, get together. So there's a lot of camaraderie and social activities to socialize with people or socialize with brethren, especially we're still indoors. But yeah, so do we have any other greetings, Sister Mika, that we like to read?
Yes. Sister Cheyenne says 26 days until the official first day of spring. So exciting. It's going to pass by really quickly. Brother Miko says, happy first anniversary, bought to CWS London Dairy. Happy anniversary. We also have Brother Jeb Barrientos, greetings, INCRadio New York, tuning in for INCRadio Orange County, California studio, local of Anaheim. Thank you for being on and helping us with our live chat. We also have, wait, there's more. I lost it, wait. From Priscilla Batan, hello, everyone. Kindly shout out Marcelino, Elvi, and Markson. Happy watching out there in New York. More power, and God bless from Rizal. Okay, so I think that's all. We have our hashtag challenge winners.
Yes, we have our hashtag challenge from last week. So we'll recognize the top 3 local congregation from our hashtag challenge last week. Number 3 is Woodside. So congratulations, Woodside. Number 2 is Long Island City. So congratulations, Long Island City. And our number 1 hashtag local congregation or group worship service or extension is Portland, Maine, all the way up north. I hope all you brethren up north, especially also upstate New York, are staying warm in this cold week that we've been having. And then we'll recognize our top hashtaggers. Is also from Portland, Maine, Sister Layana Debatian. Congratulations, Sister Zyron from Forest Hills, and then Sister Lonnie from LIC Woodside. So congratulations, brethren. And then we'll announce today's hashtag winners next week. So also stay tuned for next week.
That's right. Thank you so much. So this is our last broadcast for February. We hope that you are excited for March. We have a lot of great topics coming up for our March broadcast. So please don't just remind yourselves, remind your friends, your family, your co-officers to always stay tuned to INCRadio New York. Thank you once again to the church administration for giving us a platform to share and speak about important topics like these. Don't forget to catch us again next week, Saturday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, or Sunday, 12:30 a.m. Philippine Time. If you liked this topic, please don't forget to click that thumbs up to like. And if you have not subscribed yet, please do subscribe.
All right, and then greetings to our beloved Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, and to our Christian Family Organization Coordinator and CEBSI President, Brother Angelo Aranyo Manalo, and greetings to our INC Radio Station Manager, Brother Wally Taray, and our Executive Producer, Kuya Manley Andaya, and to our District Minister, Brother Sheridan Santos, our Assistant District Minister, Brother Neil Patrick Olmelda, and our CFO Advisor, Brother Jason Flores. That brings us to the end of our show. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and have a good night, and stay warm.
Stay warm.
Everyone, layer up.
Louder, louder. Say one.
Stay warm.
Yeah.